Chosen. Breathe once before I say what I came here to say. Hold the air. Feel the chest rise. Release it slowly. Now listen. If you found yourself pulling away from the heavy veil of sleep in that sacred, undisputed hour between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. today, that space the ancestors called God's hour, you were not merely restless, you were being prepared. If you have been noticing a persistent, high-pitched ringing in your ears, a frequency that modern science dismisses, but your spirit recognizes, know that this is not a malfunction of the body. These are codes loading, a rapid-fire transmission from the unseen trying to find a landing spot in your conscious awareness before the logic of the day drowns it out. You may feel a physical pressure right now, an invisible weight resting upon your shoulders, as if the old life, with all its worn-out obligations and exhausted stories, is trying to press you back down. On this specific day, Friday, May the 3rd, 2024, marked time has arrived. You did not stumble upon this frequency by accident, nor by some quirk of an artificial code. This algorithmic path is a vibrational sieve designed specifically to capture and collect only those souls whose internal frequency is resonant enough to withstand the upcoming shift. This conversation is not public. It is a private letter addressed to the one carrying your specific face. 3 days have been marked on the calendar of heaven, and they have just begun to unfold around you. May the 3rd, May the 4th, May the 5th. These are not dates chosen by alarm or designated by fear. They are selected by the kind of decision the Father makes when he has watched someone wait quietly for a long time and decided the silence has been honored long enough. These 3 dates carry your name across them like ink that was set down before you opened your eyes this morning. And the reason they reached your awareness in this exact hour is because what is being released across them cannot be received in a single moment. It needs 3 sunrises. It needs the slow wait of 3 days standing in line. The resistance you may feel even now, that subtle, persistent whisper saying, "This is not for me, I am too broken, I am too ordinary," is the very tool that has kept you from every window your spirit was born to walk through. Tonight, that whisper does not get the final word. You do. So stay, settle into this space, for the architecture of your reality is shifting. The first day is opening around you. The second is where everything quietly comes undone. The third is the one you will not forget. And in the next minutes, every part of why you were chosen to hear this now will become unmistakable. I want you to picture what just happened a moment ago, before this voice reached you, before you stopped where you were and let your awareness settle on these words. You were moving through your day, or perhaps your night, maybe lying somewhere quiet, or sitting in the kind of stillness most of us only get when the rest of the world has gone to sleep or has not yet woken up. And something in you slowed. You did not plan it, you simply slowed, and then you stayed, and now you are here. That is not nothing. That is a soul saying yes before the mind has caught up. The texture of this exact minute is not the texture of the minute that came before it. This is what marked time feels like. It does not announce itself with thunder. It simply arrives quietly, the way the dawn arrives in a sleeping house without permission, without ceremony, without anyone needing to confirm that it is happening. And on this day, Friday, May 3rd, marked time has arrived for you. The Father sent these words into your awareness ahead of time, so that when the full weight of the sequence breaks, your spirit would already be standing in the position He prepared. Most of the world will move through these 3 days the way they move through any week. But you, chosen one, you are being pulled out of the ordinary stream and placed into a sequence that has been waiting for the year your name finally lined up with the calendar of heaven. That year is this one. That moment is this one. Chosen. You have stood in the center of a silence so heavy it felt like abandonment, but I have come to tell you that the distance you felt was divine. The pain that carved into your heart, the betrayals that left you breathless, and the financial emptiness that stripped away your pride were not accidents of fate. They were the precision of a surgical intervention by the universe itself. You felt as though you were being punished, but you were being prepared. The Father watched you in the dark, not with indifference, but with the focused gaze of a master craftsman, removing the excess stone to find the masterpiece within. Every person who walked away from you was not a loss, but a removal of a variable that would have sabotaged your current emergence. The isolation was a protective seal, a sanctuary disguised as a desert, where your frequency could be recalibrated without the interference of those who could never carry the weight of where you are going. You have been living in a curated void, a vacuum designed to harden your spirit so that your light would not be consumed by the matrix parasites that feed on the soft, unseasoned souls of the ordinary. In that emptiness, your roots went deeper than they ever could have in a garden of comfort. You must understand that the wilderness was not a mistake. It was an architecture. It was the only way to separate you from the noise of a generation that has lost its ears. Do not be deceived by the silence of those who once knew you. There are watchers from your past, individuals who exited your life not out of boredom, but out of a hidden, dark expectation. They are secretly monitoring your trajectory from the shadows, waiting with held breath for the news of your collapse. They look for signs of your defeat, as if it would justify their own stagnation. But their exit was your greatest protection. The Father pulled them from your inner circle because their energy was a tether to a version of reality that is now beneath you. Had they stayed, they would have been the leaks in your vessel, the quiet saboteurs of the miracle that is now reaching for your hands. Their absence created the necessary friction that turned your potential into power. You were not left behind. You were pulled ahead into a space where their voices could no longer distort your internal compass. This divine distance was the only way to ensure that when the resource finally arrives, it belongs to you and you alone, unshared with those who would only use it to feed their own shadows. You are being hardened in this vacuum for a reason. The pressure of the last few years has changed the carbon of your spirit into diamond, creating a surface so dense and so radiant that the parasites of the old world can no longer find a place to latch on. Your wilderness was never about punishment. It was the architecture of your immunity. You were kept hungry so that you would never again be satisfied with the crumbs of a reality that is too small for you. You were kept lonely so that you would learn to distinguish the voice of the Spirit from the noise of the crowd. You were kept broke so that when the gates of abundance finally swing open, your heart would be anchored in something that money cannot buy and therefore cannot take away. The Father has been refining your capacity to hold, ensuring that the blessing does not become a burden. Every night you spent wondering if you were forgotten was a night of deep cellular integration. While you were weeping, your DNA was being rewritten. While you were pacing the floor in anxiety, the universe was mapping the new territory you are about to occupy. You have survived the surgical phase of your journey, and the scars you carry are not marks of shame. They are the proof of your survival in a terrain that would have destroyed a lesser soul. The architecture of your wilderness is now complete, and the walls that once kept you in are now the foundations that will hold up the glory of what is coming next. You were never lost. You were hidden. You were placed in a divine witness protection program where the enemies of your destiny could not track your growth. Now, as the atmosphere changes and the light of May the 3rd begins to reveal the new landscape, those who waited for your fall will instead witness your ascent. But they will witness it from a distance, unable to touch the hem of the new garment you are wearing. You have been tempered in the fire, and the metal of your soul is now ready to strike. The vacuum is releasing, the isolation is ending, and the surgical precision of your past pain is about to reveal its true purpose. You are ready to hold what is being given because you have learned how to stand with nothing. You have spent years trying to push the heavy stone of your life uphill, believing that effort was the currency of the kingdom. But on this third day of May, the laws of gravity are being rewritten in your favor. This shift is not a reward for your labor. It is a response to your frequency. We are witnessing a moment of deep DNA reprogramming, where the cellular memory of poverty, rejection, and insignificance is being scrubbed from your very marrow by a light that knows no shadow. You are no longer navigating the dense, sluggish waters of the third dimension, where every miracle requires a struggle and every blessing comes with a price. You are making a quantum leap into the fifth dimension, a state of being where thought and manifestation exist in the same breath, and where the limitations of your past no longer have a surface to grip. This is the Kairos condition, the appointed time where the clock of man stops and the sequence of the spirit begins. You have reached the point where your vibrational signature finally matches the resource that has been hovering just above your reach for a lifetime. It is like a radio dial finally finding the clear signal amidst the static. Suddenly, the music that was always playing becomes audible, and the path that was always there becomes visible. What is happening in the unseen right now is in total erasure of karmic debt. The ledgers of your bloodline, heavy with the unpaid accounts of those who came before you, are being burned in a holy fire, leaving only the gold of your true essence. You are not just being blessed, you are being cleared. Every spiritual obstacle that was legally standing in your way, every ancestral tether that kept you anchored to the floor of your circumstances, has been removed by the Father's decree. Because of this, you will see gates torn from their hinges, not gently opened, but violently removed so they can never be shut against you or your children ever again. The resistance that used to meet your every move, that invisible wall that stopped you just before the finish line, is dissolving into nothingness. This is the reason for the sudden, inexplicable urgency you feel in your spirit tonight. The internal landscape of your soul is undergoing a radical transformation, moving from the drought of the wilderness to the overflow of the promise. It feels like a river entering a dry riverbed, a sudden, powerful rushing of life into the places that have been parched and cracked for decades. You do not need to learn how to flow. You simply need to stay in the channel that has been carved for you. Your mind will try to rationalize this shift. It will ask for a budget, a timeline, and a logical explanation for why your life is suddenly turning toward the light after so much darkness. But logic is a tool of the old world, a relic of the dimension you are currently leaving behind. In this new state, your internal frequency is your only currency. If you can hold the state of the one who is already redeemed, the one who is already wealthy, the one who is already whole, the physical world has no choice but to rearrange its molecules to match your inner reality. This is the mechanics of the shift. It is the subatomic reality of the chosen. You are being pulled into a sequence where the sequence itself does the work. Your only task is to remain in the posture of the receiver, allowing the DNA reprogramming to complete its cycle through the stillness of your heart. The old you, the one who lived by the sweat of the brow and the fear of the future, is being replaced by the one who lives by the rhythmic breathing of the Father. This is not a metaphor. It is a literal restructuring of your existence. You are crossing the threshold now, stepping into a reality where the river never runs dry and the gates are gone forever. Chosen, as the first light of May the 3rd settles into the marrow of your bones, you must understand the absolute gravity of the law of silence. There is a specific, potent force being woven into your life during these 72 hours, a divine resource that is currently in its most volatile and sacred state, and you must protect it with a ferocity you have never before possessed. You must not speak of this. Do not carry these revelations to the dinner tables of the skeptical or the group chats of those who are still committed to their own stagnation and their own comfortable versions of lack. When a seed is first cracking open in the darkness of the earth, It does not need the light of the sun. It needs the heavy, protective silence of the soil to finish its interior transformation. To speak of what you are feeling right now, this new vibration, this sudden, sharp clarity, this internal undoing, is to expose a newborn frequency to the harsh, cold winds of collective doubt. The moment you try to explain this shift to someone who is still vibrating at the frequency of the old world, you create a leak in your spiritual vessel. Their skepticism is not merely an opinion, it is a parasitic vibration that seeks to equalize your high frequency back down to the level of the familiar and the manageable. You are currently under a divine non-disclosure agreement. The Father did not reveal this to the world, He revealed it to you. If you attempt to bridge the gap by sharing these sacred movements prematurely, you will find that the energy you needed for your physical manifestation is instead spent on the heavy, fruitless exhaustion of defense. Keep your mouth closed and your spirit open, for the work must reach its full density before it can withstand the gaze of the uninitiated. Be alert, for your old environment will sense the disturbance in the field almost immediately. Those you once considered close, the energy vampires who unconsciously fed on your previous state of waiting and your predictable patterns of lack, will feel the sudden absence of your availability. They will feel the shift in the atmosphere like a predator sensing a change in the wind. They may reach out with unusual urgency today or tomorrow, probing your field with questions disguised as concern or casual, thinking of you messages that carry a hidden hook. Understand that they are not seeking your well-being. They are unconsciously searching for the entry point, the crack in your armor where they can reattach the tethers of the old cycle and drag you back into the shared reality of struggle. Your emergence highlights their own refusal to move, and they will try to pull you back into the matrix where you were safe and small and known. This is the test of the sacred circle. You must learn to move through your old world without being of it, maintaining a perimeter of high-frequency stillness that they cannot penetrate. Your field is currently being calibrated to a frequency they cannot comprehend, and their probing is an attempt to collapse your wave function back into a predictable, manageable particle of their own reality. Do not give them the satisfaction of a reaction, for any reaction is a form of fuel. Do not defend your silence or justify your new boundaries. Silence is your greatest weapon and your most effective shield in this hour. By remaining quiet, you allow the light to crystallize into matter without the interference of their shadows, ensuring that the resource being released finds its permanent home in your life. The time for arguing your worth or explaining your journey has come to a definitive end. You have spent far too much of your precious life force trying to convince the unseeing of the light you carry, and on this day, as the 4th of May approaches and the undoing begins, you must accept the final decree of your liberation from the court of public opinion. Your results will be your only answer. You no longer need words to defend yourself. When the riverbed is full and the harvest is standing tall and golden in the fields, the evidence speaks for itself with a voice that cannot be ignored. The world does not need your explanations. It needs your manifestation. Let the fruit of these 3 days be the only testimony you offer to those who doubted your calling or mocked your persistence. As you walk through the morning of May the 4th, hold your peace as if it were a physical treasure, a jewel hidden in the palm of your hand. The Father is sealing the perimeter of your new life, and your only requirement is to stay within the sanctuary of your own internal recognition. You are being moved into a position where your presence alone is the message, where your peace is the rebuke to the chaos of the old cycle. The silence you keep today is the womb for the miracle that will be seen tomorrow. Anchor yourself in this truth. If they did not hear the Father calling you in the secret place, they will not hear you explaining why He did in the public square. Let the silence be the mark of your maturity and the seal of your protection. For your orphanhood is over, and you are finally moving under a shade they can neither see nor enter. Chosen. Look at the horizon of your spirit and witness the closing of the circle. The work of May the 3rd opened the gate. The work of May the 4th dissolved the heavy chains of your old script. And now, as the dawn of May the 5th begins to shimmer in the unseen, the final seal is being lowered into place. This is the moment where the liquid light of the last 48 hours begins to solidify into the new ground you will walk upon for the rest of your days. You are no longer standing at the threshold looking in. You are past it. The architecture of these 72 hours was not merely a window, it was a birth canal. Every struggle you endured, every tear you shed in the secret, suffocating hours of this past winter, was the friction required to push you into this exact alignment. On this day, Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, as you stand in the center of this transmission, the Father is placing a signet ring upon the document of your destiny. What has been spoken over you in the secret place is now becoming law in the physical realm. The period of testing is over. The season of being hidden is over. The seal of May the 5th is an ancient covenant, a divine decree that what God has joined to your spirit, no man, no parasite, and no memory can ever put asunder again. This is not a temporary high. It is a permanent atmospheric change. You will notice that the very air in your room feels heavier, more resonant, charged with the weight of a glory that has finally found a worthy vessel. You are the vessel, and the seal is now being set upon your brow and your future. Your orphanhood is over. You are under protection. For too long you have lived as if you were an island, fighting every battle with your own dwindling strength, watching your own back, and wondering if anyone in the vastness of the cosmos even knew your name. That version of reality is being erased by the power of the 5th day. You are no longer a spiritual vagabond searching for a home. You are the beloved, the marked, the one for whom the table has been prepared in the presence of your enemies. The Father's protection is not a vague concept or a poetic comfort. It is a literal, vibrational shield that now surrounds your household, your finances, and your peace of mind. The arrows that used to hit their mark will now fall harmlessly at your feet. The voices that used to trigger your shame will now sound like distant, meaningless static. You have been brought under the shadow of the Almighty, and in that shadow, the rules of the matrix no longer apply to you. You are being claimed. You are being named. You are being shielded by a power that does not sleep and does not fail. This is the end of your wandering. This is the beginning of your dominion. The Father has watched you navigate the wilderness without turning back, and this seal is His signature of approval. You have been found faithful in the dark, and now you are being authorized to walk in the light of an unshakable inheritance. To anchor this frequency into the density of the physical world, to move it from the realm of the spirit into the realm of matter where it can manifest as substance, you must perform a simple act of declaration. Your spirit has heard the call, now your hands must confirm it. I want you to go to the comments below and type the words, "I am no longer searching, I have arrived." By typing this, you are not merely engaging with a digital platform. You are using the physical act of writing to signal to your nervous system and the quantum field that the transition is complete. You are claiming the seal. You are announcing to the watchers, the parasites, and the angels that you have taken your seat at the table. This is the bridge. This is the moment the internal shift becomes an external fact that the world must acknowledge. Do not let this moment pass without this small, physical anchor. It is the signature on the contract of your new life, a statement of intent that echoes through the halls of the unseen. As you type those words, feel the finality of them. Feel the weight of the search ending. You are anchoring the light of the 3 dawns into the very earth you stand upon. The gate is closing behind you, and you are standing in a land you have never walked before. Yet it feels more like home than any place you have ever been. The 3 sunrises have done their work. The release of the third, the undoing of the fourth, and the sealing of the fifth have woven a new garment for your soul, one that cannot be stained by the shadows of your past. Walk out into your day or into your night with the quiet authority of one who knows the Father's hand is firmly on their shoulder. You no longer need to look for signs. You are the sign. You no longer need to beg for windows. The doors themselves have been removed. The long wait is over. The silence has been honored. The seal is set. You no longer search for the path. You are the path.